was on a field trip, so I don't have any math stuff yet. I have to learn it first. I have to do it on my own though, so it's gonna take a little bit longer, but it's an easy class, so. Okay, but we're gonna start with history. Lesson 8.6, the Black Civil Rights Movement. What events spurred a resurgence of the Black Civil Rights Movement in the decade following World War II? So, previous Black Civil Rights efforts were Reconstruction following the Civil War and the Three Amendments, which freed Black people from slavery. Although I will say that took a long time to actually, completely go into effect. And then there were the progressives, such as Booker T. Washington. Then there were organizations like the DEP and the NAACP. And then there was the Double V campaign, which is victory against fascism abroad and racism in America. Black and white soldiers fought side by side in integrated units towards the end of the war. And then the GI Bill was restricted to only white veterans getting benefits. I don't know why that's in that category, because that's not part of the civil rights efforts. But, that was a thing. And then, so, remember we're talking about what spurred a resurgence of the Black Civil Rights Movement in the decade following World War II. So, we're going to talk about the murder of Emmett Till. He was 14 years old and was murdered on August 20th, 1955. He and a group of friends went into a store to get candy, unaware of the racism there. They spoke to the cashier, who took him speaking to her as offensive. Then she later on told her husband, who, upon finding out, abducted the boy, Emmett Till, put him at gunpoint and beat him until ordering him to get naked, and then he shot him. Emmett Till's mother had an open casket funeral to show the brutality of her son's murder. She sent photos of it to newspapers so the world could see what happened to her son. At the trial, all 3 men were acquitted, which means not found guilty. Several years later, one of the men confessed and told the newspaper in exchange for money, not out of the goodness of his heart, but for money. The cashier later on reported in 2009 that although she accused Till of touching her and being provocative, he never actually did that, and nothing could have ever warranted the killing of the boy. Okay, I don't really have anything else to teach you guys, so we're gonna jump straight into me talking a bit and showing off some stuff. Okay, so to start off, there's this bookstore, like this local bookstore where I live, and they have this section of the store with bargain books. They're from $2 to $5, and I found this there. This was $2. The Procrastinator's Handbook, Mastering the Art of Doing It Now by Rita Emmett. I struggle with procrastination a lot, and I'm not even sure about procrastinating. It's I just genuinely don't have the motivation to do anything. Yes, some of it is procrastinating, but some of it's also just I don't know. I want to do it real bad, but I just can't. Tapping. collection. So I thought this would be something cool to add. Like, look at it. It has like layers and everything. Tap on it for you. Do you like having my fingers like all up in your face? You see this? Yeah. Oh, I'm getting stuck on my blanket. And then on my field trip, I bought this buffalo. I love buffalo. They're so cool. It was like $11 for this small thing, but you know what? That's okay. I had money. Okay, and now we're gonna talk. Well, I'm gonna talk about just whatever I want. Okay, so I'm getting comfy. So, let's talk about firefighter training. So, in case you didn't know, I'm part of the Explorers program, which is a program where teenagers can do training to, maybe work on pursuing the career of becoming a firefighter in the future. And if not, it's just a great place to build discipline, have fun. It's a great thing. So, on the last training one. Okay, so in the past, this happened one time. I had been storing my gear in the firefighter gear locker now, where the rest of the explorers had theirs, which was in a shed. And then one day it just randomly disappeared. I don't know where my gear went, so I had to get all new gear, and then I began storing it in the shed. And I thought my gear was safe, but it wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. Was that? I don't know how to do mouth sounds. But my gear was all gone except for my boots and my helmet. And so I went over to the Bay Area, and I was talking to my instructors. I was like, guys, my gear's gone again. And all three of them at the same time said, what the fuck? And so I spent a solid 30 minutes of the start of the meeting just looking for my gear and putting it all back together. It was scattered throughout, okay? I don't know what happened, actually. I really don't. But, I found all my gear and put it back together because there's an inner lining to the pants, an inner lining to the coat. I had to find my coat, I had to find my pants, I had to find my gloves, I had to find my Nomex hood. But I did find it. And then once I found it, I rushed over to where they were doing ladder stuff. We were learning about ladders. And they were teaching the halyard knot, which in the past I struggled with a little bit, but I actually got it on the first try that time, which I'm really proud about. That is, I'm not the best with knots and stuff, but I got it, so I'm proud of that. And then we carried 2 ladders over to a roof area, and we set up the extension ladder, which we proceeded to climb while carrying a tool. We didn't have an axe or anything. Instead we just had a Halligan bar. Although in the past, whenever we were climbing that But then I was carrying an axe, and I was still recovering from an illness, but I didn't want to miss training because I really love it. And so I had an axe in hand. I was climbing the ladder, and I genuinely, my sixth self, almost like passed out and fell off the ladder while carrying an axe. Okay, it was not good, but I got myself in time. Yeah. If you're sick, stay home. But, I was on that time, and it was really easy. And then after that, we took the roof ladder, and we climbed the extension ladder while carrying the roof ladder. Now, there were two ways to go about it, but I was told that the second way was supposedly easier and required less strength. Like, you can brute force it. But, take the easy way out. I mean, why not? So I did that, but it's not the best for people of short stature, such as myself. I will not say my height, I'm too insecure, but it's not the best for short people. So I was struggling, okay? Yeah, so I had to carry a whole ass ladder up the ladder. I had to carry a ladder while climbing the ladder. On one hand, I have the ladder, at the other hand, I'm holding myself up. And then I made it onto the roof, and it was something. And then once I got back down, everyone was like clapping and cheering for me because they knew my ass was struggling to do all my stuff and do what I was supposed to do, because my height was just like a limiting factor. And there's ways to do things in the fire service and training, but then also if you can figure out a better way to do it that works for you, then do it. Like a good example of this is when I first started training. I was genuinely so weak, okay? So weak. But, I found new ways to do stuff. So when we were doing gear up drills and I had to put on my air pack, I would prop it up. So instead of carrying it, lifting it over my head or putting it on like a backpack, I set it on the ground and I propped it up, and then I slipped into it instead, and it worked for me. So if something works better for you, do it. So yeah, and then my instructor, after I got down from the ladder, was like, you've really gotten a lot stronger since you first started. I'm proud of you. And I dead ass just stared at him like jaw wide open, like, huh? I was like, oh, like I couldn't believe it, because I don't know, I'm very insecure about my strength and my build, because I want to be big, buff, muscular, and burly, but I'm just not. So it's something I'm very insecure about. And so hearing that, I was like, in my head, I was like, are you sure? Are you telling the truth? Like, I know I've gotten stronger, but I didn't think I've gotten like a lot stronger. Like, the only thing they really have to go off of is me doing 1,000 sit-ups. But I feel like sit-ups are just really easy in general for a lot of people. I feel like there's a lot of people who could do 1,000 sit-ups, and for me, it was genuinely just the pure drive of having bragging rights that allowed me to do those 1,000 sit-ups. I was actually so sore by the end. I was like driving in a car the next day. Every bump on the road hurt so bad. I could barely even stand after doing all those sit-ups. But I persisted. So yeah, I have gotten stronger, yes, but I don't know, I don't look strong still, which sucks. Like, I genuinely hate looking weak so bad. Yeah. Okay, and then next I'm gonna talk about me being trans, because I need to spill my feels, okay? So, like, I hate being transgender, and not in the way that, like, people think, like, I understand that being transgender is a journey, and it's a journey that never really ends. And, I just have to appreciate the journey and the path that I take. But I don't like having to feel uncomfortable with myself all the time. Like, I love calling people okay. I'm a very sociable person, but I hate hearing my voice, feedback from the other person's end and hearing how high-pitched it sounds. I will rewatch my videos, like the one I'm making right now, and I'll just be like, ew, why does my voice sound so high-pitched? Yeah, it's just stuff like that. I hate how short I am. I hate how weak I look. There's a lot of stuff that I'm insecure about. But then, there is some stuff that I'm confident about too. And I just have to learn to live with myself. But I am thinking about coming out soon, to my family. And I have some stuff I gotta think about, and what better place than to express it on my YouTube channel, where hardly anyone watches, and I'm free to express myself here because literally, hardly anyone watches my videos. The most views I've gotten on a video is 67 views. No, not genuinely 67, but it's actually 67 views. Freaking hate you, 6-7 people. Anyways, so I chose my name because it has family ties, family connections, and I love the name. It's not my nickname that a lot of people just call me is a short version of it, but it's not short for the version that people think it is. Okay, I'll just tell you guys because it's not my legal name or anything. It's just what I go by. Theo is my name. Yeah, my name is Theo. And I low-key look like a Theo, I can't lie, but I like my name. But a lot of people think it's short for Theodore. It's short for Theophil. And that name has some family ties, which I won't share just for privacy reasons. But it has family ties, and I chose that because I thought that it would make it feel a little bit more real. A little bit more real. A little bit more valid. I came out to my dad many years ago. He's since forgotten, and I never brought it back up again. But I came out to him years ago, and I told him what I wanted to go by, and he said, that's your name, right? And I was like, yeah. So I don't even know if my family would like it if I chose to go by that name, but I've been going by that name for 5 years now. Everyone knows me as it at school. My friends know me as it. Well, not everyone knows me by it at school, but the majority do. And just not going by that would be pretty weird. Imagine everyone knows you as something, and then suddenly they just can't call you that anymore. That'd be weird. So I've already kind of established myself socially the way I want to be. But the next step is coming out to my family so I can further that. I feel like my intermediate family, mom, dad, sibling, would be fairly accepting. They would probably be like, but you seem like such a daughter to me. Although my mom, she might actually be like, oh my god, it finally makes sense. Because I'm always trying to shop in the men's section, the boys section. My haircut would make more sense. But my sibling probably wouldn't be the most accepting. I feel like they would be after a while, but they're not the most like aware of these kinds of things. Even though I feel like they should be at this point in their life. But it is what it is. And I feel like a lot of the family I know pretty well would be accepting. But there are some family members I feel like would be very skeptical about it. Maybe not supportive, but accepting. There's a difference. Supportive would be like, yes, you do this, I'll help you throughout the process. But accepting would just be like, okay, yeah, I'll call you that, but like, I don't like it. And I'm not sure which one it would be, but I hope it'll go well. And then another thing, just like, I don't know how to even start the conversation. Like, can I say, hey guys, I need to sit down and talk with you. This might come as a shock, or it might not, just based off stuff I do, but I'm like low-key transgender. Can you call me by the name I want to be called? Can you call me a boy? Can I start testosterone? Like, how do I even say all that? Like, yes, I can just start by saying, talking about the social transitioning stuff, like, call me these pronouns, name, all that, but like, what do I do? How do I bring up the fact that I want to start testosterone? Like, that's a more permanent change, but the thing is that I feel like coming out so late would be like, my family would just be like, well, you want to make sure that this is what you really want, but I've been like this for 5 years, but things that, because if I come out to them, for them to only know about it for a short time, so for them it'll seem pretty new of a thing, even if I tell them how long I felt like this. I've known who I am, but I don't know, it would just be like a hard conversation. And I'm honestly not the best with hard conversations, because they always make me like, sorry, it's like, they always make me want to bolt, okay? Like, I will be so nervous. I'll feel like I'm in trouble even if I'm not. It's a hard thing to deal with, but I want to be able to transition better, because having to live like this, like, only socially transitioning, it's fine, but I'm getting to the point where I'm so incredibly insecure about myself, my appearance, the way I feel people perceive me as like feminine, that I can't stand it anymore, and I really need some more support in this thing, because I have never really told anyone about my insecurities related to this. I've just kept it all to myself, and I understand that venting to people can really help, and I did recently open up to the social work at school about it, but I feel like that really isn't enough. Like, I need people close to me to be accepting and understanding what I'm going through, so they can support me on the daily if needed, rather than me just talking to the social worker like once a week or so. I need more support. It's tough out here, guys. It's tough out here. I don't know, it's weird because for a long time I wasn't necessarily insecure about myself, I was just like, I think I'd prefer just being perceived as a boy. I would prefer being a boy. I was just like that one day, and I kind of stuck with it. Mostly. If you watch my video that I posted a few days after Trans Visibility Day, there's my whole story on there. But, you know, it's just, I was like that for a while, and I never really had insecurities. I was just like, you know, this is who I am. Going through the world like this. Not really a big issue. But now that I'm growing older, it's these things that are becoming more apparent. Certain things are becoming more apparent, and it's making me very insecure about myself. And it's just something that, like, I don't want, you know, I want to feel more confident in myself. And I can only fake it till I make it for so long. Like, I can only fake confidence for so long. And yes, I have confidence, but it's honestly really waning right now. And I'm so insecure, okay? I'm so insecure about how people perceive me. Because some people look at me and they're like, oh, that's a girl. Some people look at me and they're like, oh, that's a guy. And some people look at me and they're like, what is that thing? Like, I was painting some kids' faces for an event recently, and someone's mom was like talking to her kid and was like, why don't you go get your face painted by the nice go sit down. Like, she just couldn't figure it out. And, you know, I get it. The way gender looks to people is subjective, but there's still, like, an obvious layout, quote-unquote layout of what people expect. And while I meet that for some people when it comes to being perceived as a boy, I don't meet that for all people. Some people all have their own unique ideas of what gender should look like, but there's still, like, a basic idea of, you know, what the majority of people believe a gender looks like. Like, you know, think of a man right now. You're probably thinking of someone with muscles, maybe a beard, short hair, probably tall. But think of a girl. You probably think of someone with longer hair, you know, maybe like a dress on, probably pink. But for some people, that may change. They may not have those strict standards in their head. Or, and of course, in this modern day and age, you know, people look all sorts of ways. And so that makes it even more subjective. Which means that some people look at me and think boy, some people look at me and think girl, and some people look at me and think, I don't know. I'm a boy though, obviously. But I don't know. It is crazy though to see how people perceive me and how people treat me differently based on how they perceive me. Like, there's this teacher at my school, didn't know I was trans until recently. I had him a couple years ago, but he was substituting the class, and I handed him a whole pass with the name I go by on it. And he was like, oh, you come by this now? I said, yep, I have for the past 5 years. He said, oh, I didn't know. And he just started calling me that, like, no problem. But then I noticed he started, like, interacting with me more after he found out. Becoming more, like, playful in a way, like, you know, hey, dude, what's up? Give me a high five. You know, just, like, much more interactive than before when he thought I was a girl. Because he's, like, the football coach or something, I don't know. But for the boys, and so I guess, like, I don't know, it's just strange seeing how people treat me differently based on how they perceive me. It's kind of crazy. He's a cool teacher, though. I like him. Yeah, that's really all I got. I just wanted to yap a little bit. Alright, Learning with T is signing off. And I hope you have a good morning, evening, or night. And all three of those, if you're like just waking up, maybe wanting some good ASMR to start off your day.